Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. A whole bunch of different stuff happens in this one. I get out onto the land, I'm in the shower, the plumber visits to look at my handiwork, and the scaffolding goes down, and then the scaffolding goes back up, because at the end of the video I'm going to do something with this mini chainsaw that I've been meaning to do for a very long time. So it's a good video, I get lots of stuff done. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you again at the end. Looks like it's raining again. I must say I'm growing a little tired of this weather. What do you think? He's going back inside? And so am I. I guess I'm lucky to have a plumber coming on Wednesday, which is going to really push me to focus on working on the shower. But before I hide myself away back in the shower, trying to get everything ready by Wednesday, I thought I would take you to my windowsill greenhouse where there's been some exciting developments. I love this space. I love the light that the window lets in, even though it still does let water in as well, but I'll figure that out soon enough. I also love that it makes for a really nice greenhouse space for the time where it's a little bit too cold for the greenhouse to get the seedlings going, but probably perfect in here. And so we've got loads of tomatoes on the go. These are popping up nicely. I've already thinned them down to 2 per tray, per, hole. And then over here we've got some coriander, and all of these empty ones are supposed to be future chili peppers. So they generally take quite a while to germinate, but I just wanted to show you the excitement because this is the beginning of my 2025 garden. What are you up to, Mikey? These guys are quite feisty. What are you up to, Larry? Are you gonna go out? Are you excited about my 2025 garden? Not so much. So, I'm gonna stick with Mikey and stay inside because nobody needs to be out there dealing with this nonsense, and there's plenty to do in the shower. So before I get back to work inside the shower doing some more liming and claying at the top, I wanted to come back to this wall and point out something that's a little bit annoying but not unexpected. I've got these little tiny cracks. It's happening throughout the wall, and I actually have been repairing them as I've been going along. So every day I'll spray the wall with water and then go over all the little cracks with the trowel. I don't know exactly if this is not enough straw in the mix. Could mean not enough sand in the mix. I probably should have done a test patch like every natural building person out there always suggests to do when you're doing plaster, but I didn't. However, the cracking isn't so bad, and I'm able to kind of stay on top of things just by doing this every day. It also allows me to polish the wall up to more of a shine rather than being gritty. There's lots of different ways to finish natural plasters, and I think doing kind of a passover with a steel trowel is one way to finish it off. Another way is a sponge, which I don't really have that much experience with either, if I'm honest with you. So I'm kind of just making things up as I go. But right now, I'm going to try to use this trowel to polish away some of these cracks. Who knows, really, the right or wrong way to do things. But what I can say for sure is how much I love working with clay. Even if you do have to do a few extra things that maybe you wouldn't have to do with conventional materials, it's definitely worth it for me. So the cracks have been smoothed out, at least for today. I'll be back at that probably tomorrow morning and every morning until the wall actually dries. But right now I'm going to hop up onto the chair scaffolding because I have some stuff to do up here. I've got a little bit of clay left over, and I figured I'd use it to pack in the wall, holding this shelf piece in place tighter, and then continue building around so I can embed some more mesh into the top of this, and then I'll get the lime and continue working up and round this out a little bit more. One thing you might notice is that I've added a sort of reinforcement here because this bit of wood here that's holding the shelf that opens, that actually snapped in two. So I've just fastened on a couple bits of wood, and then when I pack it with clay, that's gonna make it even stronger. So I've got the water bottle here to keep the cats from coming in and out, but I'm gonna need it to prepare the wall. So I'll spray this down, get it all nice and wet so the clay sticks better. And then it's time to get packing. Oops. So it's really hard to film from within the shower area. It's cramped, it's dark, the light is weird, and I can't even actually see what I'm working with. I can't see inside the clay buckets from where I'm standing. I'm too short. So it's tricky, it's challenging, and so I'm gonna put the camera away. So I'm gonna continue putting clay on this area until I run out of the clay, and then the next step is to just carry on doing the lime on the wall. So I've run out of clay, and I'm happy with how that's looking up there. I've just framed over the window, and it was just nice to get rid of that small little bit of clay that's been in my way. But the lime will remain in my way because it's actually too sloppy to use. I've managed to get a little bit on the walls, just up to here, but yeah, it's been really difficult to work with, so I'm gonna let it dry out for a couple days. What do you think of the soggy lime, Mikey? It's very hard to work with, I know. I agree. So I'm going to come back to that later on, and I have to admit that I underestimated the amount of lime that I would need to build up the levels of the shower. I guess it's only for aesthetics, really, but I would like to get them kind of more or less plumb, and I definitely need a bit more coming out here to meet up with where the shower head's going to attach. And then I'd also like to do some kind of artistic formation around the window and then build up this wall more as well. So it's taking a lot of lime, it's taking a lot of time, but it's also very enjoyable. So I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I'll see you then for hopefully some work outside. Good morning, everybody. I've got a dry day so far, and I'm ready to get to work. I've taken the scaffolding down, and I was hoping to reclaim my driveway, get the car back up here. But to do that, I've got to move this gravel. So I've made some space up there. I'm going to put some more over by the tool shed. However, unfortunately, today is also the day that my neighbor is doing a massive burn pile. So that figures. It's a bit unfortunate, but I suppose when there's a dry day, you're going to have lots of people around doing their burn piles. So as long as the wind stays blowing down in that direction instead of coming up here, I should be fine. I'm going to end up doing a burn pile of my own as well, eventually. You can see maybe some dead branches up above. I'm gonna try to chop off all the dead branches for all of my olive trees and do them in a burn pile because they're a bit of a nightmare to stick in the chipper. They don't really go in very well. So yeah, I can see a little bit of, I don't know, smoke coming up this way. But I'll give it a try anyway, and I can always switch over to something else inside if it becomes too much to bear. So I've got more of this geotextile stuff, and that's what was holding me up for working here. Good morning, little fellow. How's it going? And that's this stuff here. This one is the stuff I get in the shops. It's 25 euros-ish for a pack of 1 by 20 meters, and I just find it makes the weeds stay away. And when I put the small tiles, the calcata, in here eventually, I definitely don't want a whole bunch of weeds poking up between them. So I'm gonna go big on the geotextile and try to avoid any problems in the future. I'm also going to put any leftover gravel over here in my tool shed area, which is disastrous looking. So I'm gonna pull out the weeds, lay down more fabric, and put any excess gravel there and try to tidy up this area as well. So I've got a pretty big morning of physical work ahead of me, if the wind and the smoke allows it. But once I'm finished, I think it's going to make a massive difference to how my place looks. So if that doesn't get me motivated, nothing will. Okay, the geotextile's out, it's ready. I need it in a little spot there. And I'm also planning on removing a stone that's in front of my door. That's been there, well, since I bought the place, really. But my plan is to eventually not have that there, so if I can lay down the fabric, get the gravel all evened out, that'll, I think, look loads better. And it'll just be another step towards having a real porch. Step one, get this stuff cut. So this is gonna take a very long time, and I'm racing against the rain and the smoke. So I'm just gonna put the camera away and get on with things. But here's how things look so far. We have the gigantic but shrinking gravel pile, and we have a porch with bits of gravel over there and plenty of geotextile stuff to be covered up. So I'm gonna get to work, and you'll see the results hopefully very soon. I'm back. I've been working maybe for about an hour, not too long, and I've filled the patio up with gravel up to this point. I need to take that stone out and actually cement it in, so I don't want to put too much gravel around it. And I'm going to flatten everything with the rake and tamp it down with the tamper eventually. I also trimmed off the geotextile fabric stuff so it looks a little bit neater. And you can see over here that the gravel pile, while still large, has reduced in size. So my local burn pile guy has finished for the day, even though there's lots of burns all throughout the valley and the air is a little bit smoky. It's not quite as extreme as it was this morning, and it's dry. So I'd love to take advantage of these two wonderful things and continue working. However, it's lunchtime and I'm hungry. So who knows what the weather will be like after lunch, but let me show you what I'm hoping to do. So this area over here has been chaos for far too long. All of these stones should be piled up somewhere that's neater. And I'd really like to use the excess gravel in here. So that's going to involve pulling all these weeds out Probably layering another layer of the geotextile stuff, even though I have some down already. It's obviously not doing its job to the best of its ability. And then dump some of the gravel probably on one side here and move the stones over to the other side. So it's going to be rather satisfying work, but as I said, I'm hungry, so time to eat. I'm back and it's turned into a gorgeous day. It did rain a little bit when I was having lunch, but that went away and turned into some glorious sunshine, so that's amazing. Everything here is as I left it, but there's been some action over here. I've moved the stones sort of into piles with great effort, and then I've also stacked the remainder of my firewood into this little pile, and then moved these long bits of wood here that I'm hoping to eventually use for a garden gate or something like that. They were previously here, and I'm gonna need this space to be clear just so the plumber guy can get in and out tomorrow. That's where the shower pipes go. And I'm also gonna wanna talk to him about running pipes into the house that will go to the kitchen and the bathroom sink and stuff like that. So the idea is that I'll have a gas on-demand heater thing here with some kind of pump that takes the water from my IBC tank. And I'd like to talk to the plumber about the best way to do all that stuff, what he recommends, because I have absolutely no clue about doing plumbing inside a house. I've got some experience doing outdoor stuff and running gray water pipes and things like that, but as far as the interior, I got nothing, and he's coming tomorrow, so I'm excited to chat to him. So right now, I'm gonna get to work on clearing the bottom of this tool shed. And I don't know if any of you remember from my videos last year, but I had a crazy ant infestation around here. And while I was doing this work, I got attacked and bitten. So I don't know where they are. I haven't actually seen them, but they're around and I'm going to be vigilant. But right now I'm going to be venturing in here to see what I can do about this weedy mess. Well, I found the ants. They're over here, so I'm gonna try to do that part fast. And I'll try to avoid that spot for the moment, because those guys are fierce. I think I've heard in the comments that these yellow flowers have some seriously aggressive and annoying roots, and that they're really hard to get rid of. But I'm hoping by suffocating everything that's in here with this amazing stuff, they won't dare rear their head again. Be gone, weeds. Be gone. Snails everywhere. So this geotextile stuff, you know, it's not perfect. It does let some weeds through, little bits of grass and things like that, but it's obviously way better and way less weedy than it would have been without the fabric. So that's annoying. It's started to rain, but I'm determined to get a couple of wheelbarrows into there right now. One. Two. And it's not raining that hard, so I think I'm just gonna keep at this and try to get that entire pile of gravel over there into here. Okay, so it has been moved with great effort on my part. It's about 5 p.m. and this was a lot of gravel, guys. So this is for the base of my tool shed. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do an earthen floor or a limecrete floor or something else, but gravel needs to be at the base of the floor, I think, so that's a pretty good spot to store it, if you ask me. And then over here, I've added a little bit more to the porch area. This is probably too much gravel because I have to, I think, put some hardcore or some smaller gravel on top of this. Smash it all down, possibly by hand, possibly with a machine, and then I've got to put the calceta tiles on top. So I have a feeling much of this gravel will be eventually just dragged over in that direction as I continue doing this weird gravel porch thing. So you'll notice that I've changed into a t-shirt, and that's because the sun came out earlier, and when there is no clouds in the sky and the sun is blasting down on you with its full force, it gets really, really hot. But now we've got clouds again, so this is very mysterious weather, very mysterious indeed. But the pile of gravel is moved. The driveway can be reclaimed as soon as I shift this stuff out of the way. And yeah, it's been a really rewarding day of work. I do love the physical stuff, and it's been nice to be outside. I thought it was supposed to rain today and it didn't, so I'm really happy I got that done. And if you look over there, it's definitely raining, and that could be what I was expecting earlier in the day. So it's been a really fun day of work, a bit challenging, but I enjoyed it. And I'd love to say that I'll be outside again working on stuff, but it's all weather dependent. So I'll see you tomorrow for who knows what, either something in the shower or something out on the land. Good morning, folks. It's a gorgeous day. Tracy the trumpet flower is looking happier and happier as each day goes by. And this guy here, my beleaguered avocado tree, is looking sadder and sadder as the days go by. So I'm gonna try to get this thing in the ground in the coming days. But first, I've got my strimmer out. I've got a bag full of batteries. It should last me about an hour. And before I can plant that tree, I've got a lot of strimming to do down there where I'm hoping it'll go. So this entire terrace here is a complete disaster. It's very overgrown. And this part that I'm standing on is my main focus because I can't walk down from that terrace to this terrace and see what my feet are doing. It's very treacherous. Plus, this is where I want to plant the avocado tree. And I've also got some grapes to prune that have gone into super chaos mode. So first things first, trim the area, see what I'm dealing with, and then go from there. So here's where I got to. I went a little bit nuts on the garden, strimming all of that, or most of it. I got down this little terrace here, and I also cleared the spot where the avocado tree is gonna go, but I ran out of string, and I don't have any more, so I had to stop. I've still got a couple batteries left, but I have no more of this stuff, so I'll need to go into town and get some. So that's put an end to things before I could continue up to the craziness here. However, because I've strimmed this section here, I'm going to try something a little different this year. So for any of you out there that have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know how much I love sunflowers. And I've got a big old Tupperware container of sunflower seeds here. and I thought I would just throw them around and see what happens. So I've got this section down here that's a little bit damp and stays pretty wet throughout the summer as well. So maybe if I scatter some seeds, I might end up with a sunflower forest. Who knows? Plus I also have this garden up here that I haven't really done anything with either, so I figure I might as well just throw these things around. I have enough of them. If they don't grow into flowers, the birds will eat them and they'll be happy. And if they do grow into flowers, that'll be a pretty wonderful thing to see because, as I mentioned, I love sunflowers. So sunflower seeds have been flung around the place. Maybe something happens there. Maybe nothing happens, but it'll be interesting to observe. So I'd love to be strimming some more, but don't have any string. So maybe it's time to switch focus and try to prune these crazy grapevines. So grapevines are something I do have a little bit of experience harvesting because my friend Sancha has a few vines down at her place, and I've harvested them in the past and taken them to my friend Lawrence at Keela to put into his wine co-op. So this isn't completely foreign to me. However, now that I'm in amongst it, the same confusion has taken over as before. So with grapevines, I want to just choose a few. I've got loads of shriveled up grapes that never really formed. Last year was a really terrible year for grapes, and many people didn't even bother harvesting. So hopefully today will be, this year will be a bit different. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick a couple of branches on every vine, and then it's amazing to see how much they spring back to life. And I guess eventually my goal with these vines, which have been completely ignored, is to possibly have some kind of a gate or a pergola type thing perhaps, and then have the grapes growing over top of that. I think that'll look really cool. So I can't tell if this looks better or worse. I went a little nuts on pulling the grass out, which is probably a good thing. I ended up chopping up all the little grapevines for kindling for next year, which is a good thing. And I snipped down the grapevines quite drastically, which is what you're supposed to do. So hopefully they spring back to life. Pruning those grapevines wasn't on my to-do list, but I'm really happy I got to it. It's one of those jobs that just gets neglected year after year. I'm happy I got to this strimming, and it's just nice to be outside and to have my hands in the soil and probably stuff on my face and just getting dirty and enjoying it. So I've got this big old wheelbarrow of future kindling to dump into my future kindling pile. Who knows if these will burn? Could be interesting to see. And then I'm going to retire inside because it's getting cold, it's getting late, and I'm ready to relax for the evening. So I'll see you tomorrow for who knows what. It depends on the skies. Good morning, everybody. The sky is looking very confusing. It's ominous and gloomy over there. And then over here, we've got some puffy clouds, some blue sky, some sun trying to poke through, and it's looking really very nice. Which apparently is vastly different to what the weather was like last night. I live in basically a tank, so I can't hear any wind or any rain from in there. And last night it was so windy that trees came down on a friend's yurt, on another friend's camper van. Solar panels were flying everywhere, and it was just a really rough night with very windy weather. So I'm really lucky to have had no damage here. My invincible polytunnels are still standing. Those things are great. Yeah, and no damage down here and no damage down at Sinead's yurt either. Speaking of Sinead, look who's here. Hello.
Survivor!
How's it going? How was the evening last night? A little bit blustery, I heard.
It was wild on the outside. The yurt was solid. The yurt was solid, but the wind was blustery, galing in
scary
fact.
moments?
I went out around 2 or 3 to just check on the situation. The oak trees were alive, but no, it was fine.
It was all good.
Yeah.
And your polytunnel, is it still standing as are mine? Yeah, still there?
I reinforced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reinforced it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll get on and check that out later on. Right now, I'm looking for a safety officer to help me support the scaffolding while I hang off the top.
That's me. That's
all right.
me.
All right, let's do this.
Safety third.
Safety third. So I'm gonna chop off this gnarly branch here that's just been annoying me for a very long time. And I might leave the other one for now. But yeah, so let's get up there. You ready?
Oh yes.
So I request your safety and standing services.
My weight.
Your weights, yes please.
My weight.
Get your weight behind it.
A bag of cement would have done exactly what I'm doing.
That's a good point, but has a lot less charm. All right. Ready? Timber! Bye!
Useful Sinead,
Thanks for your help. So Sinead's gone back to her place. I'm going to be heading down there in a minute to help her move some furniture out of her polytunnel into the stone barn because she's turning her polytunnel into a temporary bathroom and shower area, which should be pretty cool. But the rains are coming this afternoon, and even though the sun is out right now, I've got a lot of stuff to do around the place to prepare because the next 2 days it's going to be pretty fierce, and then as I mentioned, it should be sunshiny skies after that. So that's all from this video. It's been a bit of a mishmash as I've tried to fit work in around the crazy weather. So hopefully we've got some sunny days ahead, and I'm looking forward to getting back to work on the pergola. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.